Hey guys, welcome back. We got the vacation over with now, and it's time to get back to work. One of the things that I found over the vacation period was they were running events like crazy, and it was hard to keep up with all the time you needed to put in to get all those things done, which meant I ended up doing Tower of Pwnage near the end of the day, and just trying to get through it as quickly as possible. So I've got a couple tips on getting through the Tower of Pwnage as quickly as possible now, and I'd like to share them with you guys. Let's go ahead in there. So as I've continued to grow the team, I've kind of got one team still. It's the undead team, but I've made a few tweaks to it, and we'll show that in a minute, that I used to go up through most of the process, but I've switched up a little bit, and some of these all normal speed teams I've been using the fast team on a little bit more often. And before I was worried about using up their cooldowns, using up their skills too early, but I found a good way that I don't have any issue with that. So we're going to go ahead with this team here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright, should be coming up any time now. Loading. Alright, running up those steps. So we've got our team, and we'll have Black Diamond go first, and we see that she can use her first skill. Always the case, at least when you start off before you've used that. And the second one here is on a 3-turn cooldown, but I don't want that. I want to be able to refresh these whenever I want. So one thing you can do is just cancel right back out of the battle. And if you want, you can mess around with doing some attacks first, see about how much damage you would do. But every time we go through these, you see that if we cancel out, we get credit for that turn. And so those characters that went through, you can actually, they then will have one less turn for their cooldown. Which basically means anytime that you want to use all of their skills, you can go right ahead, and then the next all normal speed team that you come across, you can quickly go in and out and just refresh their skills very quickly without any trouble, which makes it much more easy to use your fast speed characters and use all those skills, quickly go through a battle without any worry of having to save them for later on. So we'll go ahead and wipe this team out real quick. You can see we're down to a 2-turn cooldown on that one. That was mostly just to show the concept. I'm not actually going to be using Assassinate here. We'd like to get through and get at least one crit. We got 2, so that finishes off 2 characters. We're going to go ahead, we'll just use this one for now, and try to finish off the other characters. Here, I'll use this to even save up. Now we really only have Black Diamond that we need to refresh, and we can go in and out of battles. I saw that the next team was all normal speed as well, so we can go in and out of battles until we get that Blade Storm refreshed, and then do the whole thing all over again. And it's really a very quick process, so I didn't put any fodder team in there to absorb attacks. Just go through and kill them all in one turn. And if you have any trouble where Blade Storm doesn't crit everybody across the board, or doesn't crit somebody and take them out, you can always just reset anyway. Alright, so we'll go in here. See, it's all normal speed characters. And they don't do that too often, but I usually get probably 3 or 4 floors that are all normal speed. And even if they're not, sometimes you can put in, say, 2 of your fodder characters. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. You can put in like 2 fodder characters and take out the fast speed character, especially if there's only one, if it's Willow. So another thing I want to point out here is that I usually take Black Diamond, and then the rest of the team I'll often fill up with single target attackers. That way I'm only counting on 1 critical attack from Black Diamond to take out one of their characters. I can take out the other 3 with single attacks from these other characters and shouldn't have any trouble and should never even suffer a hit. So we'll go ahead in, and we know we're going to have to go in and out a couple times to get a refresh there, or to get the cooldown to go away for Blade Storm. And you could say that, you're going to have to do the same thing if you were going to use a normal speed team. You'd have to send some characters in, let them eat up all those extra skills. So I think this actually turns out to be faster many times. But you don't have to count on it. You can, you could just go the other route. Another benefit, though, is just that it changes up the process. I mean, this can be a monotonous part of the game to get through. And so you can just go back and forth very quickly. And you get to use your fast team, which is sometimes fun as well. If there's a character that's... so we know that all the rest of the single attack characters don't have a cooldown on their main attack right now. So if you want as well, you can just single target attack one of the characters with Black Diamond, and she's got a ×2.5 multiplier. So if she does an attack, there's a fair chance she'll finish somebody off. And if you do get lucky that way on one of these rounds, then you can just continue and finish off the rest of the team. Here we're going to have a little bit of trouble because of Ice Bloom, because of that Unbreakable Heart. So we could go through. It probably would hold off on this team and maybe even bring in like Masuta Kira to finish her off. So we'll go ahead and retreat again. This is one of those rare times when you gotta switch it up a little bit. We bring in Masuta Kira to finish off Ice Bloom. But most of the time I'm just doing those single target attackers. Let's see. We're still going to have to go back and forth a couple more times because we're going to end up needing to have Blade Storm all the way through the cooldown at this point. So if we didn't have Ice Bloom in there, we could have just gone ahead and wiped out the rest of the party and not taken any hits. And if you're not worried about taking a little bit of damage, I mean, Ice Bloom doesn't do all that much damage. She really just freezes the team for 2 turns. But you still, if you don't want to take any damage, you can go through a little more conservative like this. Okay, so I don't want to wait too many more times, so we'll go ahead with Masuta Kira in there. You could also see if they had like Yokozuna in there, who's going to do just a minuscule amount of damage but put daze on everybody. Or, for example, if they had Chief NubNub, where he's going to do heal the first round. If you take out 3 characters and just leave that final character, there's a few characters that are like that, where they're going to do basically no damage to your team. That would also be a good way to go about this. Alright, so if we want, we could actually just do Assassinate. Now, unfortunately, you don't get to choose the next character. So ideally, it would work out a lot better if we got to choose, because we could have just hit Ice Bloom next anyway. Alright, so we've got 2 characters left. We're still going to end up taking a hit from Ice Bloom. So we'll go with this one. See, I'd rather take that hit from Ice Bloom and not worry about this part, so we'll go ahead here. Likely one of our characters will dodge. Yep, we got a dodge there. And very little damage taken, so we can finish her off and keep going. Alright. So the next team, we actually have a fast player on, I believe. Let's go ahead and take a look. Yeah, we've got Masuta Kira. We don't want to eat that much damage on all of our team. So we'll swap them out. Have someone absorb that. And put Balog on. So here's the reason. So he's going to take a little bit more damage from Masuta Kira because he's, weak to light, but at the same time, he's also strong against it, so he can't take a critical attack. So you can't, and we talked about this a couple times, but you can't do a critical attack on an element that you're weak against. And since light and dark are both strong and weak against each other, you can't do a critical attack on dark with light, you can't do a critical attack on light with dark. So basically it's an insurance policy that we're not going to have a really big hit taken. We'll go through Stampede. He should take a lot of these without too much trouble. Might even be able to get through like double chop. There's no one that we're going to do a lot of damage to on this one. I don't have any of his skills up very high. He's really just here to take a lot of damage. Purging. Okay, so all done there. Then I'll swap out this other team I was talking about so we can look at both of those. You can really work up the tower very quickly like this. You notice it did take a couple turns resetting for the fast team, but even that didn't take very long. Probably takes even less time when I'm just doing this and not also talking through a video. Alright, so the team I usually use will bring him, and all the rest are undead. Well, I should say, aside from Pontifex, his first form is not undead. But I've been loving the Overlord here. His third ascension is really a useful skill. We'll show that here in a minute. And it's got such a short cooldown, so we can talk about it here anyway. His third skill for Overlord Executum is a leech skill, so he's going to do damage and then absorb health back. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but the leech skill brings back more health than the damage, so it's at something like 120 or 130% of the damage you do, you bring back as health, which is fairly uncommon compared to some of these other leech skills, which usually it's just a portion, maybe 30% or 60%. We'll go ahead and take Tasumi out. We've got the second ascension here for Augustus, so he's got Quick Starter too, which means that skill, every time we go into a dungeon, he gets 2 energy on all of those skills. So he can use that very often, all of his skills really. Here's Overlord Executum and the leech skill I was talking about. Let's get that to pull up. So the cooldown's only 3 turns. He gets a significant heal. So basically the whole thing with this party is that I can keep them fully healed really easily. Every one of them has the ability to do significant healing. We don't actually need any healing right now for him. They're also very tough and do a lot of damage. So Pontifex, obviously, he gets health when he takes other characters out, when he finishes them off. And then similarly, Lord Zom does a ton of damage in general. His massive attack. His attack is, I think, pretty close right now to IGOROK's, and he's a star below him. So just does a ton of attack. He's a slow character, so you've got to wait for that. But the other 3 are normal speed. Do an attack like this one's got a 4. The Septic Claw's got a 4-turn cooldown. You can see the damage on that. So even on an armored character, 5,000 damage. Just a huge amount of damage. And he can heal with that Taste for Brains skill. Can also do an enormous amount of healing for him. And then every couple turns you'll come around and get Lay on Hands and Aegis Wall. So a lot of healing potential and a lot of damage with this team. And since I've been using them, I've been able to go all the way through to the end with just the same team. I rarely lose anybody. And if I do, it's usually Pontifex. But even that doesn't happen very often. Plus, they're just a lot of fun to use all those leech-type skills, bring the health right back up, and really keep the team fully healed. So it doesn't take long to get through these teams. A lot of the teams going up, at least the ones that I'm going against in the Tower Pwnage, have Tasumi on them. That just seems to be a common character. Let's see if we're going to see him again. Alright, yep, they're on floor 11. So even, I'd say probably every other floor we can use that Smite skill from Augustus. And so there's no real concern there. We'll start with that. Probably put him as the first character, so as soon as Tasumi goes, we'll go ahead and take him out just in case some random off chance that we didn't finish him off, although so far it's been 99% effective. For anyone, even 6-star Tasumi's usually dropped to that. At the same time, this Tasumi is paired up with both of the Warrior Heart characters, so having Bovus El Doro and Yokozuna in there, then that adds a little extra health as well. Alright, so that's most of it. We've got a whole nother team of normal speed characters here. and then another normal speed, or normal speed and slow, I should say, but basically no fast characters all the way through. So I could continue to use that fast speed team and finish them off. There's no real reason to show all of that. It's not particularly exciting, but it is pretty quick. And especially now that they've gotten going, their other skills, say the second and third skills, for most of the characters are ready to use, so you don't even have to wait. You don't have to continue to reset to just do the first skill. You can continue to go through and use the other ones as well. And if they take a hit or two, that's not really a problem. They're not required to do any of this. It just makes going up the tower that much faster. So that's the tip for today. Again, the number one thing, the easiest thing, I realize not everyone has the same teams. Easiest thing to do is to throw out those fodder characters, take the damage, the main damage skills from whatever team you're defending, whichever floor, and then go in there with a hardier team with some good skills and finish them off. But as you continue to level up these different teams and the different characters, you can make faster progress, which I think really helps out with this part. It can take a lot of time, but not nearly as much time if you're using the fast team and you get used to doing certain combinations to finish off groups very quickly. That's about it for today. I hope this was helpful. Thanks again, everyone, for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.